Welcome back to the Center in the City podcast. I'm your host, Wade Brill, and I am so glad you are here. In today's solo episode, we're going to talk about the power of the leap, how we can stop waiting for certainty to take action in our life, and how we can start to feel more empowered to start living our life right here, right now. You're going to leave this episode feeling so much more courageous to take charge of life instead of waiting for the perfect moment to do the damn thing. This theme has been coming up in a lot of sessions with clients where it's either been, should I look for a new job? Should I not? I'm happy, but I'm not really happy, but I don't want to rock the boat, but I'm kind of ready to do a new career path, but I'm scared, or I'm ready to leave this relationship, but I don't know what's next, or do I fully commit to this relationship? I don't know. What does that get to look like? Do we want kids? Do we not want kids? Do we want our lifestyle to change? Right? All of these big life questions can get so overwhelming. And instead of getting trapped in the thinking mind about what we're wanting or supposed to do, we're going to talk about how you just have to take a deep breath and sometimes take that step forward. So, wherever you're listening to this podcast, I welcome you to settle in and let's get centered. How many times have you stood at the edge of something big, an opportunity, a relationship, a decision, and said, maybe later, or maybe next week, or next month, or when I have more money, or when I feel ready, or when life feels less certain? But what if I were here to tell you that waiting is actually costing you more to your life? It's costing you more to your peace. It's costing you more to your purpose and your growth. And today I want to talk to you about how you can decide to take the leap and why this matters, and why taking the leap doesn't mean you have to be impulsive, but instead how you can do it still with intention. So there's so many things that keep us mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually stuck when wanting to take action. Most of the time, it's a lot of thinking traps that come up. And thinking traps meaning we create the worst case scenarios in our brain. We let strong emotions like fear or anxiety keep us stuck and paralyzed. Maybe they're thoughts of judgment. What are people going to think about me if I decide to do this? Or what am I going to think about myself? We can get wrapped up in self-doubt, questioning our worth. Am I worthy of this decision? Am I worthy of this investment? Am I worthy of this relationship? So the first step here is to recognize that you're in a mental spiral of hesitation, whether that's strong emotions or thinking traps are coming up. Now, when the brain and the body experience fear, it makes sense that there's a stress reaction, and that stress reaction might be freeze, or that stress reaction might be flight, or that stress reaction might be fight. And when there is activation in the body and brain's alarm system, it can flood the prefrontal cortex, the area of our brain that's known for decision making, creativity, rational thinking. This all gets hijacked because the brain and the body are in stress reaction. So when you're thinking about taking that new job, or fully committing to that relationship, or moving abroad, or buying a new home, or having a baby, or getting married, or getting a divorce, these big life decisions have a lot of risk, and that can activate the body's stress reaction. Now, if the brain, the prefrontal cortex, that's the area known for decision making and creative thinking, if that is flooded, then it makes complete sense that we then catch ourselves ruminating, overthinking, or procrastinating on taking risk or making big decisions because we're physiologically not able to. And taking risk feels really scary. Think of evolutionary perspective. When we think about taking risk, it's the sense of being seen and we might be rejected or we might fail. And that then creates this sense in our social relationship to others, maybe a sense of being pushed out of a group, or that means we're not going to be able to survive because we're not in community. As humans, we have this deep desire to be accepted by one another, to fit in, to be in community. It's also one of the reasons public speaking is so scary for a lot of people, because they feel all of these eyes on them. And because all of these eyes are on them, they're thinking, oh my God, am I the threat? Am I at danger here? And that's what our physiology is telling us. And so we have to work with our system, with our biological system, to create different meaning to what is actually happening. I know as I'm gearing up to publish my book, oh man, has it thrown me through a loop where I feel not only my inner critics really loud, but this bigger exposure feeling. It feels so vulnerable to share my book and have it be out there in the world. And the thoughts spiraling of, are people going to like it? Are they going to think it's good enough? What are they going to think about me? Is very loud. And I, for so long, let that voice of fear hold me back from publishing my book. That's why my power intention this year is courage, because I knew I needed some deeper inner resources to feel courage in my body and in my mind, to be able to move with the fear with love, so that I could really build more trust with myself, that I could practice failing, that I could not be attached to the outcome, that taking action in alignment with my values and my vision and my purpose is way more important than what the actual outcome is. Something our mindfulness practice can teach us, that reminds us that we can't control the outcome. All we can do is be in the present moment, breathing and living with our intention. I want to be clear here that taking risk in life, there's a difference between acting with intention and being impulsive, being reactionary. Acting with intention, this framework is about pausing and reflecting, right? Connecting us to what feels meaningful about this decision. What are my values here? And then preparing, thinking about, what do we need to take action? What does this really look like? And then creating a plan and being able to be flexible with the unfolding. The last P here is to proceed with courage, to be able to move through, continue to keep going forward with courage in mind. When we take these big leaps in life, it's not about being fearless. Again, we want to bring the fear with us, and we want to choose growth, because growth means that we are moving in the direction of the sunlight, right? We are moving towards what nourishes us versus keeping us stuck or stagnant or dying, shriveling up. So I welcome you in this moment to bring to mind an area of your life that you've been pondering with for a while, that you notice that there is some fear and also desire for growth. Maybe it's a relationship that you want to finally end, or it's a relationship you want to finally commit to, or it's a move you want to make, or a new job you want to take. Take a moment to think about, where in your life have you been kind of ruminating, chewing on for a while? And once you have this area in mind, see if you can sit with it and notice what comes up inside of your body. And maybe the fear starts to rise and starts to feel really paralyzing and overwhelming. And if that's the case, just gently notice that. Maybe find something in your space to help you feel a little bit more resourced. Maybe look for something that feels or looks pleasant, and just rest your attention there if you get too overwhelmed by the fear. Notice if in your body it feels exciting and nervousness. Notice in your body if it feels right, but there's that like, but I don't know what's on the other side of it. But I know that this is the right direction. Just notice what comes up as you think about this big next step. You You get to practice being with it, practice noticing it. But we don't want to stay in it. So we get to move with it. This is you pausing. This is you practicing reflecting. And then as you prepare to move forward with purpose, with intention, I want you to think about what is one tiny doable action step that gets to bring you an inch closer to taking the leap. Is that creating a plan B? Is that talking to a friend to just know that you have some more social support out there in the world? Is it to research? Is it to save some money away for as a safety net? And then as you take the action, as you plan and move forward, welcoming in flexibility, welcoming in this flow like water mindset, because most of the time things don't go as we 100% wanted them to. And so we get to be flexible with how it looks. And that doesn't mean it's a failure, even with us pivoting timelines or pivoting plans or pivoting the outcome. And then each step forward, as we continue to go through this cycle again and again, we get to proceed with courage. So courage is woven through this moment by moment. So get honest with yourself and ask yourself, like, what's holding you back? And what questions do you have that you feel like you need answers to? And take some time to jot that down. Support the fear brain with something to chew on. Support yourself, knowing that you're not abandoning yourself with the fear, that you get to move with it. A really powerful imagery you can hold with you as you're exploring taking this leap is imagine you are standing at the edge of a cliff, and behind you is everything familiar, everything that is in your comfort zone. And in front of you is everything that you are dreaming of, everything that you really, truly want within your own heart, authentically and deeply want. What are you willing to believe about yourself so that you can take that step forward toward that future self? And each breath that you have connects your feet to the ground and supports you moving forward with purpose, moving forward, connecting to what matters most to you. None of us know the outcome. None of us never know the outcome before we take the step, before we take the leap. Certainty is a fallacy. Life is never certain. And so we must learn to live with the uncertainty, to live with the unknowns, to live with the fear, and move with it. So whatever you are wanting, that relationship, that new career, that new lifestyle, that home, whatever it is, if you are deeply wanting it, think of this step forward, this leap forward, as you're moving closer to choosing who and what you want in life versus holding on to the past, holding on to what feels comfortable and known. I remember having a conversation with my husband before we got married, after we were engaged. And he said to me, this getting married is taking a leap of faith. And I don't feel you taking that leap of faith with me. He gave me that feedback because I was stuck in some fear. And it's true, there is that moment of just taking a deep breath and stepping forward with as much intention and alignment as you can. And that was the best decision I've ever made. How do you know when you're stepping forward with intention versus impulse? Well, impulsivity looks a little bit more like being spontaneous without any grounding. There's a difference here of letting your intuition lead you to make a decision and just kind of not letting yourself think about it, versus impulsivity is like, oh, I'm just going to do this one, or I'm just going to choose this, or I'm just going to jump. I'm just going to close my eyes and take a step forward. A lot of the time, impulsivity is then coming from more of an urge to escape the discomfort than a conscious choice to grow with the discomfort. Impulsivity could feel more like a rush of urgent energy, like, I need to know this now. I need to figure this out now. There's a disconnection from your grounded center, right? You're not necessarily feeling in alignment with your values and what you want, more about reacting to what's happening. I know for myself that I used to make a lot more rash, impulsive decisions because it didn't feel comfortable to sit with it. And then I went the complete opposite, where I noticed I would jump right into a decision and it didn't feel good. And then I wasn't really happy with my decision, that I would then start to take a lot more time just sitting with my decision and thinking, okay, one day I'm going to get a sign from the universe that this is the time to do it. And that would be a really long time. And I wasted a lot of time, a lot of energy continuing to think about that choice. It really is a balance of taking that pause to reflect inwards and then acting versus just reacting impulsively. And then you don't want to simmer too long. You don't want to stay in the wondering and the I'm going to pause and reflect, because sometimes we can get really comfortable at reflecting, not enough action and integration. So for you, you have to discern that sweet spot for yourself where you're taking that time to listen, to gain some data, and then to act. I know I have certain friends who are able to take a moment to check in and then feel really aligned and then go and act. Personally, I know I process a little longer. So my pause and reflection moment is going to be a little bit more spacious than theirs. I highlight this because I think it's a beautiful thing to observe in other people, but we don't want to compare, because comparison, is a thief of joy. And so if we're comparing our decision-making process to somebody else's, that's not going to really serve us well. So we need to trust that we have our own internal process. And it's one that over time we can strengthen. It's one that we can build as we build more self-trust, as we build more courage. Our process will get even more effective and efficient in its own way. If you're listening to this and you're like, Wade, I am still stuck in, am I making an impulsive decision, or is this coming from intentional action? I welcome you to reflect with me, grab a journal, grab a pen. I want you to ask yourself, what's the decision or action I'm considering right now? Or maybe you've already taken it and so you want to learn from it. So take a moment to just describe it clearly and simply. What's the decision or action I'm considering? And then next, I want you to ask, what emotions are present for me around this choice? Is it fear, excitement, pressure, restlessness, peace, joy? And then asking yourself, is this coming from a place of urgency or inner knowing? And to expand on that, ask yourself, am I trying to escape something, or am I moving towards something? And if I gave myself 24 hours of space before acting, what might I discover or feel differently? And once I make a decision, before even acting on that decision, can you just sit with the decision and maybe reflect and say, what does my body feel when I sit with this decision? Does it feel calm and grounded, expansive, warm? Is it tight, buzzing, jittery, contraction? And what would intentional action get to look like here? It's not about being perfect, but it's about being intentional. As you're reflecting, you can close your eyes, put your hand on your heart or hand on your belly, abdomen, and just listen to what comes up. And if it still doesn't feel really clear, see if you can try on one decision for a little bit and let that sit and notice, does your body lean into it? Does it lean forward into it? Does it lean back into it? Is the body saying yes, no? Learning to pay attention to these cues is so important. It takes time for us to learn the cues of our body. I would so love to support you in taking this leap, taking this action. Feel free to reach out on Instagram, send me a note, celebrate with me what you're integrating, what you're recognizing, this intentional action. And even if you made an impulsive decision, celebrate the awareness around, oh, yep, that was an impulsive decision. And how can that be feed forward for you for the next decision you get to make in your life? I am working on my own big leaps that we'll hopefully talk about in the coming months. So know that you are not alone in continuing to take leaps forward, stepping into growth, stepping into this next version of yourself. And speaking of growth and next version of yourself, my book, 100 Mindful Moments to Balance and Energize, is coming out very soon. So if you're not already on the wait list, sign up in the show notes. You'll be the first to know when the book is live to order and get all the free goodies that come along with it. Also, to make sure that you're in the know of these next growth spurts, I welcome you to follow me on Instagram at OneWade. That's a place I'm very active, as well as sign up for my newsletter at wadeworld.com. Thank you for being here as always and letting me into your heart, mind, and ears. I'm so excited to hear how this episode resonated with you. So make sure to share it with a friend, reach out and let me know. And until next time, stay centered.